Ben Wallace is a Chicago Bull. Play power forward / center from Lowndes County, Alabama, aka 4'5". 6'9" without the fro, 7'1" with the fro, 245. I think every basketball player dreams about having his own shoes. You know, growing up, I was a football player. I enjoyed playing football, and I started to pick the game of basketball up late. I really got into basketball, I'd say my junior year in high school. A lot of people were pushing me in that direction, and once I started to take the game serious, I started to do things that I never knew I could do. I never thought I was the man. I always had to work for everything I got. Growing up in a family like I did, I tend not to ask for anything but opportunity. Growing up in Alabama, it was a great experience for me. Grew up in a huge family, a nice close-knit community. Everybody knew everybody, so everybody, made sure you was doing what you was supposed to do. My mom had 8 boys, 3 girls. It was never a dull moment in the house. You always had something to do. If you want to play sports, you just gather up the rest of the siblings, y'all go outside and y'all mix it up. I had people don't believe me when I tell them I'm the smallest in the family. My first job was tough, man. It was, I was a kid, I just had turned like 15, 16. And, first job experience, did not really know what to expect. And I was working on a farm. And, all I can remember is just how beat I was. Coming home after working all day on that farm, coming home like just laying down, thinking I'm just gonna take me a quick nap and probably, get up and go to the park, shoot some ball, and wake it up and this next morning already. I'm like, man, 3 weeks of doing that. Woke up one morning, my mom woke me up and was like, man, you going to work? It's like, nah, man, I ain't going. She was like, I knew it. I hope that basketball, football, I hope one of them things work out for you, because son, I don't see you working no 9 to 5. So at that time, I started to put, all my energy and effort into whatever I did, Well, I had an opportunity to meet Oakley, and when I was in high school, he had a basketball camp in Alabama. He said, if I continue to play with the type of heart and passion I have for the game, if I continue to play like that, then good things will happen for me as far as my basketball career. Me and Oak became really good friends. He stayed in touch with me, during my junior college career. And, when it was time for me to leave, he asked me where I was going to school at. I told him I was undecided, and he told me I might want to give Union a look. They just made it easy for me to just go out there and play basketball. College ball at Union was great, man. It was another, small campus. We didn't have state-of-the-art facilities. We didn't have the best campus in the world. But, we had a desire, hunger, the determination, to go out and win every night. I have a lot of fun memories playing up in here. This was a place where, we couldn't allow teams to come in here and get comfortable and think they got an easy night. Every time we played up in here, it was for all the marbles. Overseas ball, wow, that was a real live learning experience for me. I went over there, played for, about a month or so, and have an opportunity to experience different basketball. Here the game, is so fast. When I went over there, you know, it showed me a different side of basketball where you can actually slow it down and, you know, use your fundamentals to your advantage. And, you know, for me, it was a great experience. Even though it didn't work out, you know, got cut from over there. And I think when I got there, they was looking for somebody a little bit taller or something. Just had to keep fighting, just had to stay in the game. And, you know, it was no one defining moment, but I was just glad to have opportunity when Washington called. Wes Unseld sit me down and told me he wasn't looking for a scorer. So he had tons of guys that can score the basketball, need somebody who can defend and rebound. Those things I can do well. I was the last of the Mohican with the Washington Bullets. So, you know, I had opportunity to go out and start a couple games during the preseason. And then after the game, I think the biggest compliment you can get as a player is to have some of your peers, you know, stand up and say, if you continue to do what you're doing, you know, you're gonna have a great career in this league. So, you know, at that point, you know, I think people started to take notice. I think every basketball player, you know, dream about, you know, having his own shoes. That was one of the things I always dreamed about, you know, someday walking by a playground or something and hear somebody say, you know, that I'm better than you because I got only new Ben Wallace's. I don't think you should, you know, really judge a person about, you know, what they have or what they earn. I think you should judge about how much they're willing to give back. And, the things that they're doing at Stephen Barry's, man, is great. You know, the reason I joined the Strawberry Movement is because, you know, what they're doing is what I'm about. You know, I know when I was coming up and playing basketball, that, you know, it would have not only helped me, it would have helped my mom a whole lot to take that pressure off her to be able to go out and you know, buy a kid something nice. I really know that, you know, my mom struggled, you know, to take care of us, to make sure we had everything we needed. And, you know, I'm pretty sure the struggles are pretty much the same for a lot of other families. Whatever I can do to try to make that struggle a little bit easier, you know, I want to do it. You can't save the world, but, you know, as long as you can help a couple of people along the way, then that means a lot. You can really, you know, help some young kid out who really can't afford to buy that, you know, the high-end sneakers, you know, but they can still go in the store with $15 and come out with a great pair of shoes. You know, I'm involved. You know, I try to stay involved. I want to be involved. Stephen Barry's been real supportive of me being involved because, you know, this line represents me and who I am, you know, and they're giving me an opportunity to go out there and you know, put my personal touch on my shoes and shirts, you know, the creation and the designs and everything that, you know, that I want everybody to know about me. So I think, you know, Stephen Barry's and Steph, you know, doing a great job. You know, when they teamed up, you know, they brought something to the table that, you know, that you can't deny that it's going to help out a lot of people around the world. If you feel it in your heart, then when you're doing the right thing, then that's what it's about. It's just not enough you can say about it. It's just a great thing they're doing, and I'm happy to be a part of it.